JKP Films presents If Cain Were Able. Episode 2.
Meanwhile, in Eve Hope's office,
we need you in the quarantine room straight away.
What's going on, James? I was just watching the landing ceremony for the Titan and...
Please, Eve, just get your ass down to the quarantine room straight away. I'll meet you in the briefing room in 2 minutes.
What's going on, James?
They are dropping like flies.
What? Who's dropping like flies? I don't understand.
The tourists who were on the Titan, from what we can gather, they went through some type of meteor storm and now they are dying.
Oh my god. Were we able to contain them straight away?
Luckily, yes. We evacuated the landing sites and quarantined the passengers and the crew as soon as the Titan landed.
Thank God.
On the screen right now, you can see the virus attacking the blood cells of one of the passengers at a fast pace.
Oh my god, is this in real time?
Yes. It multiplies and spreads at a rate faster than any other virus known to man. The next video is a video of one of the infected passengers. As you can see, blood is seeping out of all of his orifices. His face is disfigured and things seem to be bubbling under his skin. Amazingly, within 20 minutes of us taking this video, this passenger was dead. The rest of the survivors' health has declined and keeps on declining rapidly. They are all dying, Eve, so we need to find a cure quickly.
How long has it been since they were contaminated?
We don't have an exact time, but we think it's been less than 3 hours. I want your undivided attention on this one, Eve. Your expertise with genetics and viruses is exactly what we need right now. I know you do your best work alone, so as always, you have the lab to yourself whilst the rest of us work in the South Wing. Okay? Okay? Okay. Now, 4 of the 15 passengers are still alive, so we are literally racing against the clock here. Please keep me updated.
Eve rushes to the airtight room outside of her quarantine lab. She cleans her hands with a chlorine solution, puts on her protective quarantine suit, enters her lab and starts screening the blood of the passengers and crew of the Titan. She analyzes the blood, then she exits the lab, takes off her protective clothing and does research in her office. Time passes by. Day turns to night. Eve works vigorously until she falls asleep. The next morning, Eve wakes up in her office. Eve shakes her head and continues reading a book on viruses. She almost falls asleep. She shakes her head, rubs her eyes and continues working. A few moments later, she starts to nod off again, and then she looks into her mug. The dregs of coffee remain there. She makes her way out of her office and then drops her mug. Her mug seems to drop to the floor in slow motion.
Oh my god!
Eve looks all over the corridor floor. There are dead bodies of men with blood coming from all of their orifices. The dead bodies have disfigured faces, blackened eyes, and things moving under their skin. Some of the dead are wearing their quarantine suits. Eve makes her way through the corridor towards James's lab. There are dead bodies everywhere.
Hold on! I'm coming!
Inside James's laboratory, Kim is screaming and looking at all of the dead bodies in the room. A number of men fall to the ground. Eve looks around. She notices James fall too. She rushes to him and kneels down. She sees black pus seeping from his eyes. His heartbeat begins to race. And then it slows down to a stop.
Oh my God, James! James, you can't be dead!
Eve is about to touch James, but then she stops and walks up to Kim.
Kim! Kim!
Kim doesn't reply. She just looks at all of the dead.
Kim! Kim!
Still, Kim doesn't reply.
Kim! I'm just going to my office and then I'll be right back, okay?
Eve enters her office and turns on the TV. The news is on. In the newsroom, there are dead men's bodies all over the floor. Kelly Shields is sitting behind the newsroom desk.
I always wanted to be the head anchor, but not like this. Millions of men have died all around the world. At first we thought that only the men in London had died, but then our satellites revealed that there are dead men all over the world. This is definitely the worst situation the world has ever seen. Some type of unknown plague has brought the whole of mankind to its knees. The victims have blood coming out of all of their orifices. They have disfigured faces and black pus coming out of their eyes. On the screen momentarily, we will show you images from all around the world. Viewer discretion is advised.
Eve shakes her head and stares at the screen in shock as pictures of the dead from all around the world are shown on the screen.
So far, we do not know how many people have survived. If you are overseas and you are watching this, please call 0044 208 467 0672. If you are in the UK, please call 0208 467 0689 and then make your way to Trafalgar Square at 3 o'clock. We need to find out the extent of this disaster before we can think of rebuilding mankind. Thank you, and I hope to see you all soon.
Eve is absolutely flabbergasted. She carefully inspects every inch of the quarantine suits of those who have perished from the virus while wearing them, but there are no tears in any of the suits. However, each of the suit's inhabitants are now dead. Eve vigorously runs more tests, the results of which are quite outstanding. She finds out that the virus has the ability to pass through the protective quarantine suits and to overcome all of their safety features. A few hours later, in Trafalgar Square, women can be seen congregating all over the square. On the ground, there are many corpses of men. The women look distraught. There are speakers all around the square. Eve Hope is standing at the front of this crowd. Some of the women are crying.
My brother's dead.
Oh my God, my husband is dead. What should I do? Oh my God.
In front of them, at the top of the steps, is a microphone. Kelly Shields walks up to the mic. A number of teenage girls with clipboards follow suit and stand behind her. They're the same girls she was previously mentoring.
I'm not going to lie to you people. So far, things look quite bleak. It seems like every single male has died. Every single male around the world, that is, has somehow mysteriously died.
At this point, some of the women hug each other whilst others faint.
This is definitely the worst catastrophe to ever hit mankind. But we will bounce back.
How? My dad is dead. My brother's dead. My son died in my arms. I mean, every single man in the whole of my family is dead. So you tell me, when every man in my family's dead and I haven't even been able to bury any of them, How are we going to bounce back? How?
I totally understand. Your story is the exact same as every other woman in the world right now. And that's exactly why we have to pull together. That's exactly why we have to stand firmly united. We've all lost the men we love.
The women beside the woman who's crying try to console her, whilst thinking about the loved ones they have lost.
According to the census you all did when you called in, we have 2 geneticists in our midst, and a few scientists. So whilst the rest of us are disposing of all the dead bodies, they will be trying to find a way to save the human race.
I'm not touching any dead bodies.
Oh yes, you will. If we don't dispose of the dead bodies, then disease and vermin will spread, and even more of us will fall sick and die.
How do we know we haven't already been infected?
Oh, we don't. But until we can find out for sure, we're going to act as if we haven't been infected. At a later time, we'll elect a government. But for the meantime, I'm going to be in charge. Scientists, doctors and nurses, please make your way up to the front. The rest of you, please remain in this area until you get further instructions.
Eve, the scientists, the nurses and the doctors make their way to Kelly, who's at the front of the crowd. Eve looks at the doctors and nurses.
I can send you all some information on how to screen people's blood for the virus later.
That's brilliant. You've all been added to a group email, so please share the information via that. My assistants will give you all business cards with these details and other valuable information.
Sally Shaw's face is covered in tears. She is still crying. She turns towards Eve.
It's great to see you again, Eve. I only wish it could have been under more pleasant circumstances.
Hi, Sally.
Sally hugs Eve close and breaks down crying. Eve has her hands firmly planted by her own side. She glances around, wondering what to do for a few seconds, but when Sally doesn't let go, Eve pats Sally's back awkwardly.
There, Sally.
I can't believe my dad's dead. Yesterday he was fine and now he's dead.
We've all lost people we care about, but until we get this situation under control, we need to hold it together.
Sally lets go of Eve and gives Kelly a dirty look. Kelly ignores the evil eyes she's getting from Sally.
Do either of you know why this is happening?
I think Titan's passengers brought the virus back from outer space.
And how did you work that out?
The dead bodies found all around the world have the exact same physical symptoms as the passengers and crew of the Titan who died yesterday.
Why the hell weren't they quarantined?
They were, but the virus still managed to get out. It has the ability to get through all of the safety procedures that modern quarantine specialists use.
That's extraordinary. I presume the virus must be airborne. But still, it's amazing how fast it's spread and everyone's contaminated.
Excuse me, Kelly? Kelly Simpson? I thought that was you.
You're mistaken. My name's Kelly Shields.
Yeah, right. I could never mistake you for someone else, Smelly Kelly. It's you, ain't it? It's Smelly Kelly. You've changed your appearance a bit. Instead of the same old tad dirty clothes day in and day out, you've now got designers. But you're still the same old Smelly Kelly. I could recognise you anywhere.
Kelly turns to 3 of her assistants.
Get rid of her. Now!
The assistants drag Jess away. Jess tries to put up a fight, but she cannot resist them. Kelly puts on her fake weather girl smile and looks back at the scientists and medical staff.
Sorry about that interruption. Now, where was I? Oh yes. Okay, scientists. I want you to concentrate on gathering the sperm from the sperm banks and preparing it for fertilisation, whilst the rest of us dispose of the dead bodies.
That's not a good idea.
Why not?
Because getting the general public to get rid of dead bodies is likely to lead to the epidemic spreading even further.
Well, what would you suggest?
leaving it to the experts.
Momentarily, Kelly has a look of anger, and then she resumes her fake TV weather girl smile.
I appreciate your opinion, but...
Actually, Sally's right. Allowing unqualified people to deal with the dead bodies in a situation like this could lead to an even bigger catastrophe.
OK, we'll do it your way. After all, you are the experts, aren't you? Just make sure you keep me up to date.
Kelly walks off. Apart from Sandra Hooper, her assistants follow her. Sandra gives Eve and Sally a card, and then she writes down their details.
How and why would a weather woman have so many assistants?
Kelly used to mentor us before the epidemic, so now we are assisting her in any way that we can.
Sandra walks off, and Eve and Sally make their way away from the crowd. Eve cleans her hands with antibacterial gel.
I think we should use the labs at my workplace, because we will have access to the source of the virus there, and to the most up-to-date equipment.
Sounds like a good idea to me. I can't believe that I'm finally going to get to work with the brilliant Eve Hope. I know this is probably not the best time for this, but I didn't get to say this in the past. I just want to say that your work on isolating the gene that creates serial killers was quite simply amazing.
Thank you.
If you don't mind me asking, what initiated your work with serial killers?
When I was younger, my favourite teacher in my primary school was killed by a serial killer.
That's so sad. But I'm sure your teacher would be so proud of the work that you've done in this area, because it is truly spectacular.
Thanks again, but the same could be said about your work with nanotechnology.
You don't know how important that is to hear from you. Thank you.
Did I say something wrong?
No, it's just that I can't believe I'll never see my father again.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
Did you lose anyone?
Yes. My father. A few cousins and a few uncles.
Oh my gosh, I never would have guessed. Look at me banging on about losing my father when you've lost so many people. You must be distraught. How are you keeping it all together?
I guess we all deal with things differently. Hold on, do you reckon we could program some nanobites to make them airborne, so that they can target the infected corpses?
Yes, definitely. Oh, okay, I see where you're going with this. We can load the nanobites with a cocktail of chemicals that will help to sterilise the corpses and aid in their decomposition. I've got some nanobites at my lab. That would be perfect for the job. I'll go and get them, and I'll meet you at your lab later.
Later on that evening, Eve emails the doctors to let them know how to screen people's blood for the Titan virus, whilst Kelly Shields organises public announcements every hour, on the TV and the radio, to tell the public to come and get their blood screened for the Titan spaceship's virus. Meanwhile, Sally Shaw programs the nanobites to target the infected dead bodies. She loads them with a chemical concoction which will help the dead bodies to decompose quickly. She then launches the nanobites. They fly through the air and make their way to the dead bodies. The nanobites enter the carcasses that are scattered around the world, and within moments, the corpses decompose.
A dream is born, brewing inside of us. A dawn has come. Specks turn to stardust. Too much to learn, so little time to see. To yourselves, this is your odyssey. Let the fire burn, consume all my enemies. When the smoke clears from our sight, let the quiet calm our hearts. Children like a diamond will never break. Nowhere to hide, nowhere to go. Is this the end of our way? Save yourselves, death will not be your fate. Let the fire burn, consume all my enemies. When the smoke clears from our sight, let the quiet calm our hearts. Save yourselves, don't give up on your fate. Save yourself.